What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Old Thunder Brewing Company, and they are out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and this is their Time Out of Time, the 2022 release. So they're calling this one an English-style Barleywine ale aged in whiskey barrels. It comes in at 10% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. And this bottle is just over 17 months old. I want to give a huge thanks, shout out once again to Old Thunder for this beer. So big thanks to them. Last June, I went to the 2023 Rochester Real Beer Expo in downtown Rochester, New York, and Old Thunder was pouring at said festival, and they had 4 different beers they were pouring. I had a sample of all of them, and at the end of the night, Rob from Old Thunder sent me home with a 4-pack of their False Kingdom, which I reviewed last year shortly after the event, and a bottle of this, which I did, full disclosure, have at the event. I had like 4 ounces of it. I loved it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. So it was really cool. He sent me home with a bottle of this to properly review. Now I've been waiting, obviously, almost a year to kind of review this one because I was thinking maybe of sharing it, whatever the case may be. But you know what? I'm in the mood for a barrel-aged English-style barley wine, and this is going to fit the bill. So this is kind of like a blended barrel-aged English barley wine. They're aged this one in Old Fitzgerald, Wild Turkey, and Buzzards Roost Whiskey barrels. So it's blended, and I just remember being really good. Then again, you know, when you're at a festival and you're 10, 15, 20 pours deep, you know, how good is a beer? You really don't know. So it's awesome that I'm able to check this one out. And they also have like the pull tab, which is awesome with the wax because a lot of times you can't cut through it. So we'll see if this actually works well or not. I do see at the back here, I might be able to get into it. Now this is starting to fall apart. So we'll have to see. Am I going to be able to get into this one? I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. Let me see if I can get in there right now. I don't know. I might have to cut this further. Yeah. You know, live and learn. I thought the pull tab was gonna work well for me, and it turns out the pull tab did nothing of the sort. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get through this and be able to maybe snag onto this at some point here. There we go. It's thick wax. All right, that actually was a lot easier than anticipated. Hopefully no wax gets inside. So I love that it's waxed for sure. Should cut down on the oxidation to some degree. And ooh, I got the cap. You know what? We're not even going to put the cap over there. You know why? Because there's nothing on the cap and it's all gross and whatnot. So anyway, let's give this a proper pour. Let me actually grab a paper towel just for my hands here because definitely going to be sticky. Ooh, put this down here. Okay, let's give it a pour here and see what we got going on. Looking like a barley wine of some sort. Now this is a 750. I'm gonna try to generate a big head here. I'm gonna go about halfway. I will see. I'm probably gonna cap this and drink the rest tomorrow. We'll see how I'm doing over the course of a night, and we'll go from there. So good carbonation, 10%. So does that look like a barley wine of some sort? Yes, it does. It has that like muddy kind of brownish, kind of ruby red kind of color. On camera, it's probably gonna look like just like a straight on dark brown. About a finger and a half of the straight up khaki colored head, maybe even like a straight up tan colored head. There's definitely alcohol legs around the sides here. Expected 10%. It looks really nice. It honestly looks like a proper English barley wine. And like I said, you hold it up to the light. There's a little bit of light getting through at the bottom here, but outside of that, it has a turbidity to it. Let's get a nose. First thing I notice in the nose, there's a lot of times you'll get oxidation on beers like this that are almost a year and a half old. Not getting it here. It has a very vibrant like confectionery / caramelized sugar vibe to it, like a ton of toffee, caramel, brown sugar, toffee for sure all day. Has like a sugar daddy vibe to the nose, or almost like a Heath or a Score bar, like chocolate covered like toffee. The barrel's there has a spicy, zippy kind of whiskey note. There's a big blast of vanilla as well, touch of oakiness, black cherry, almost like a sugar plum kind of feel. And a lot of times I'll get like sugar plum in like a quad. This is definitely happening here though, being an English barley wine. Makes kind of sense to some degree. Yeah, that chocolate, like it has like a bittersweet kind of like cocoa powder feel to it. Burning my nostrils a little bit, 10%. The alcohol is definitely present. Holy shit, this smells so fucking fantastic. Maybe a touch of a butterscotch. I just want to get lost in the nose. This actually, now again, when you're at a festival like I was, you're not, a lot of times I'm not sitting there and sniffing the fucking thing for, 2 straight minutes. I just remember being like a quintessential, delicious barrel-aged barley wine, but I couldn't tell you specific notes I picked out. Here, there's a lot of complexity to the nose. Like, it's fucking crazy. And this is right out of my darker beer fridge at 54 degrees, so it's probably like in the 56, 57 realm now. Perfect drinking temperature, I feel, for something like this. It smells fantastic. There's almost like a spicy kind of like cherry note. Like, you've ever had like cherry cola, right? Like a wild cherry Pepsi or something, or cherry Coke. Kind of has like the cherry character you'd get in that, but not as like fake and candied. It smells awesome. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Old Thunder. I'm gonna need a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna need a minute. Maybe more than a minute. As I took that sip, like the first time I swallowed, I didn't notice anything too substantial. Then that second one, it fucking hit my palate in a beautiful way where I need a little bit of a timeout. Let me go back in. Oh, shit. This is why when you drink a beer at a bottle share, at a festival, on tap as part of a flight, I don't think you really get the full understanding of said beer until you kind of sit down on a fresh palate and start dissecting it. Because while I gave this a 4.5 on Untappd and I thought it was a damn delicious barrel-aged barley wine, what's in my glass right now and what the fuck is happening as a whole is blowing me away. This is substantially more complex, more intense, and just straight up more delicious than what I remember having it at said festival. One knock to this beer. It is a bit thin. It is 10%. And a lot of times when you drink beers like this, they're fucking 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, whatever. So I got to keep that in mind. But it is like lower side of full body. It's a little bit thin. It's going to stop it from getting a 5 out of 5. However, that is really the only deterrent to this beer for me personally in terms of how I'm going to score it and what I think about it. It is definitely a bit thin. The mouthfeel, however, is proper. It's mild to mildly carbonated. So it's not flat or anything. It's smooth on the palate. And it's just, what you kind of expect out of a barrel-aged barley wine. A lot of times, though, when I drink a barrel-aged barley wine, I'm thinking it's going to be more almost flat. Like a lot of times, it's a very mild carbonation. This has more carbonation, which I enjoy. Sometimes I enjoy like that flat feeling or like that mild carbonation, but I want a little bit more carbonation. So this is not that old, so it should be a little bit more carbonated, and it is. So the mouthfeel is better than the body. The taste, though, front to back, it's just, there's so many things going on. This is going to be like a fucking 19-minute review. It's going to be crazy. However, forefront, get a little bit of like a dark bread, which I did mention in the notes, like a dark bread spiciness, like almost a rye bread, but not quite. Dives underneath the palate. Really doesn't, it's not noticeable throughout the rest of the palate. It just kind of hits me and just goes underneath. From front to back, though, there's a lot of things going on. Caramelized sugar, you could say caramel, toffee, brown sugar. There's almost a molasses vibe to this one as well. But it has like a lot of that caramelized sugar, sweeter malt notes at the forefront. As it starts to pass through, there are notes of that bittersweet kind of like baker's chocolate, that cocoa powder kind of feeling to it. So it's giving me like, again, I would say Heath, Score Bar. You could say Sugar Daddies as well in here with all the caramelized sugar. A little bit of a raisinette thing too, because I'm getting more like raisins. Again, I said sugar plums, more of just like a plum in general. Black cherry. There's so much fucking shit happening that it's hard to, my puny brain is having trouble processing it. Halfway through the palate, I get hit with this big blast of vanilla. It probably coming from the barrel itself or the barrel's use, the blend and whatnot. You know, aged for a year in barrels. Did I mention that? No, they're definitely aged for a year. So they probably age into different barrels and blend it together. But all those barrels aged for a year. A lot of vanilla, and then it turns into this like spicy, almost like a rye whiskey as opposed to anything else. Like it has a rye whiskey kind of feel to it. Again, it's spicy, it's peppery. And there's this oak tannin kind of dryness, very slight though. It's like a mild oak tannin dryness. This beer as a whole is like mild to moderately, or sorry, moderately to, I would say semi to full on dry, but the bitterness is mild. It's a mild bitterness. It's more dry than bitter. But this is sweet through and through. It's a 10% barrel-aged English barley wine. It's going to be sweeter. It's not cloying to me. I don't say this a lot, but there's a little bit of like a kind of marzipan thing going on, a little bit of nuttiness as well. Oh, good friend of my fellow beer tuber, Matt over at Massive Beer Reviews, he probably loses shit over this one. I think like this is just extremely well done. Again, because it's, you know, waxed, there is no oxidation here. There's no like cardboardy thing going on. I'm not getting any like pronounced sherry notes or anything like that. So this one is held up extremely well. At 10%, definitely a huge warming into my chest, nothing on the palate. I know this is obviously a bigger beer because of what I'm tasting. There's, you know, only one or two styles, English barley wine or a old ale that can kind of produce these kind of specific notes I'm tasting. That cherry is, with each sip, I'm getting that more of that spicy cherry I was talking about in the nose, like a wild cherry Pepsi, right? Like I mentioned that, and I know that's probably not a good analogy because people are like, oh, fucking barrel-aged English barley wine tastes like wild cherry Pepsi. No, it's just a Pepsi character, or the cherry Pepsi kind of the cherry character in that wild cherry Pepsi, where it has like a kind of like a spicy cherry. It's kind of what I'm getting here. It's kind of like a spicy cherry, or like a zesty cherry. It's very easy to drink despite it being 10% aged in whiskey barrels. Like it, yeah, I could fuck that. If I sat here for like 2-3 hours, I could easily take down that bottle. Will I? No. I'm probably going to pour a little bit more into my glass and then cap it and then come back tomorrow or the next day and drink it. Where I think it'll be cool to kind of try this one with probably less carbonation in a day or two. But I think I prefer it with more of this mild to moderate carbonation. Thank you to Rob from Old Thunder for sending me home with that 4-pack of False Kingdom, and this is great. This is great. How much do I want to knock though? Let me pour whatever I'm going to pour in here. I'm going to probably do something like this for the rest of the night. We'll do that, and then the rest I'll probably take down tomorrow or the next day. How much do I want to deduct in terms of how I'm going to rate this? We'll go one more sip and I'll determine it. I'm not going to deduct much because while the mouthfeel is fantastic and the body, I was going to say body, I just changed the mouthfeel like you wouldn't know. I meant to say body. While the body is thin for what I want out of a style like this, I have to keep in mind it's 10%, and lower side of full body isn't that thin for what it is, but I gotta knock it a little bit. So I'm gonna give Time Out of Time, the 2022 release. I'm gonna give this a low 5 out of 5 and go 4.9. I gotta knock it a little bit. I can't give it a perfect score, but it's very close. But this is where I always say, who gives a shit? A 4.9 or a 5, it's an immaculate world-class barrel-aged English barley wine that I wish everybody who likes the style could try at some point because it is that fucking delicious. 4.9 out of 5. Price point availability, here's where, you know, you're probably not going to be able to ever get your hands on this one if you watch the review unless you're in Pittsburgh or know somebody who maybe has extra bottles. This was $28 for the 750, so it's expensive, but it is, you know, 750 is 25.4 fluid ounces, $28. That'd be like the equivalent of paying, you know, somewhere around, you know, for a 500 milliliter bottle, paying somewhere around like 17, 18 bucks. I don't think it's that bad. probably like 18, 19 bucks, but I don't think it's that bad. A lot of people out there will easily, for a 500 milliliter bottle, will pay $20 to $25 and not think twice. So $28, not bad, but it is more than $1 an ounce, which is usually my limit. But I would make an exception for this. I gave it a 4.9 out of 5, so clearly. And availability, this was their second anniversary release. They had their second anniversary in, I think it was December of 2022. So you'll probably, if you see this again, they'll probably bring it back maybe at some point. But who knows? I just know that I'm very lucky that Rob was nice enough to send me home with this stuff. So yeah, one of the best beers I've had this year. One of the best barrel-aged English barley wines I've had in a hot minute. And if you're in Pittsburgh or you've had this beer before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. I want to drink. I'm going to go and sip on this probably for the next hour, hour and a half and just enjoy myself. I'm going to cap that and come back probably tomorrow or the next day and drink the rest of it. But I love English barley wines, whether it's barrel-aged or not. And this is fucking fantastic. So yeah, apologize for the longer review. That's what we do here on the Beer Patrol. Especially when a beer is almost a 5 out of 5. You got to kind of wax poetic about it and just get in your feelings a little bit. And that's what I did. So I'm going to shut this one down. Hopefully everybody out there is drinking something that is as good as this. And if not, at some point in the future, you will. We all will, because we drink what we like. And I really like this. Anyway, I'm going to shut this one down. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Oh yeah, the reason why I'm actually reviewing and posting this is I'm probably going to be going to the 2024 Rochester Real Beer Expo. So if you're in Rochester, New York, or the Western New York region, and you're going to that festival, let me know. Yeah, I would definitely, like to say hi to anybody who watches the channel. Last year, I got recognized by like 3 or 4 people at the expo. It was really cool. A lot of folks that drink amazing beer, and it was a lot of fun trying out a lot of breweries that are outside of the Western New York area as well. So yeah, anyway, I'm probably going to be going back this year. So if you see me, say hello to the next one. Cheers.